Part 3 of the Cleveland and Srixon review series. We've talked about the irons in both companies. Now it's time to talk about the woods. Let's see what we're talking about. Welcome back to mcgolfshop. Jim McCleary, most awarded certified club maker, club fitter, where we talk about club repairs, club reviews, and club fittings. If you would, like and subscribe, swing and hit that bell, and that way you get more of these videos when they drop. All right, part 3. All right, now I'm shooting, just so you know, I'm shooting all this in one day, right? There's all these products in one day. And I'm going to be one tired pup when it's all said and done, but it's worth it because I get to experience the new product, right? So I can tell you about it. That's the fun part. The other part is that there's a lot of work that goes into speccing, and I'm just going to turn over here. I'm looking at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 different clubs, and we spec them, all right? It's like blueprinting. So that we can go down and we can look and we can see just exactly how things are comparing, right? To make sure that, you know, so that the company is doing what they're saying they do. And so it's working out pretty good so far. We've gone through the irons, like we just said. Now it's time for the woods, right? We're going to do the Cleveland product. So we're going to do the Cleveland woods next. And the Cleveland woods, when we talk about woods, it's driver hybrid, or driver fairway hybrid, okay? Driver fairway hybrid. And this one you've seen on the internet for it's just making a huge splash right now. The Launcher Turbo, right? The Launcher Turbo. Now, the Launcher Turbo has introduced, and it says so right here. If you get right there, let's see if it can. There we go. Right, turbocharged cup face technology. Now, I'm a tremendous fan of cup face. So, what is cup face? Well, basically, in the day, what they did is they designed faces, and they would be just a plate that would lay right in on a body. And what would happen was, and you could see them in older models, that they'd have this 1/8-inch rim that would go all the way around, and it would really steal away from the forgiveness of the driver, making the sweet spot very, very small. Not the best spot, I'm talking about the best reflective part of it. Cup face technology is basically where you take the face, looks like that, and is placed onto the head like that, somewhere in this area. I don't know exactly where, but I'm going to guess, since there's a lip right here, somewhere in this area here and somewhere down in that area there. And what that does is that expands the ability for the average golfer to miss and still not be as penal. That's what it really comes away with. And it works, right? It works. I've seen it in other companies that have done it and had huge success with cup face technology. And I expect this to be no different, all right? If you look back on the bottom, it's got basically a little channel here, and you see a lot of weight coming through the middle, and then it spreads out this way. And basically what that is, you know, it's a lot of design work. However, it's also a lot of balance, right? It's a lot of balance in the club. So you have a lot of weight balanced out there. That's MOI, right? Now, they don't sport anything. They talk about big amounts of MOI in this club. However, you can see it in the design concept that they want to balance it, all right? I like that part. Now, the other part is you're seeing here is it's got the little fins on the top, right? That was it's becoming a popular little trend because, you know, we're swinging just so fast that we need to have all these fins at the top. However, if it helps us with gaining a little bit of speed, so be it, right? And I'm okay with that as well. In addition to the fins, is what they have what's called the high bore crown. Now, if you guys remember way back in the day, the high bore was just this much, and there's this big curve down here. Quite popular in the day, and made this big loud sound. I mean, it's a blah kind of sound. And so what they've done is they've kind of modernized that, and it's got basically a smaller shelf and then more of a traditional look. It gives it a more modern appearance. I like that part. This is coming with a mcgolfshop. I guess I'm pronouncing that. For the guys that are working there, I'm sorry about obliterating the name. The mcgolfshop, and it's a 50-gram S-Flex shaft. mcgolfshop made a name for themselves by creating these really very, very light shafts, and traditionally when you make very light graphite shafts, they were very, very breakable. Well, not so in this case. Miyazaki is a very top-end shaft company that really specializes in lighter weights. So we're going to see how this one works out. So we're going to test that one. Now we're going to go out and we'll look at the Fairway Wood and the hybrid. Miyazaki. All right.
You're close. You're just flipping the Y in the Z.
There you go. All right. The 3-wood is basically a smaller version of the driver. Right. The design concept didn't leave that. The head has the high bore crown. Still has the fins or whatever these channels you might want to call them. So it doesn't look, it basically looks like a smaller version of the driver. Oh, I forgot to tell him that. The other part you'll notice on the driver is that it is not adjustable, right? There's not a moving part on this club. Not a moving part on this club. Which goes to the fact that if you get fit, right, let's talk about that one a little bit. 90% of all people that buy a golf club don't change anything on, even when they're adjustable. And of that 10%, 90% of them change it once and it's a one and done thing. There's like 1% of the clan is one of those we'll call tinkerers. So if you go get fit and you get the appropriate length, the appropriate loft, the appropriate flex, the appropriate everything, then this is a one and done kind of driver, right? No need to worry about anything. And in some cases, for those people that are always the what-ifers, right? The what-ifers out there, it takes that right out of the equation because there is no what-ifing, because you can't what-if it, right? There is no changes to make. It's just you take it and you go. So get fit. Go see somebody that has one of these carts or somebody like me that does it so that you can get fit and get the appropriate shafts, the appropriate lengths, the appropriate lies, the appropriate grip. You'd be surprised how much all those in concert really change the way the performance of the driver, and you'll be able to use that for a lot longer than you would think. All right, one of that I'm really interested in to see how this is going to work is the launcher halo. The launcher halo. I don't know if we can get the black in there or not. There we go. Launcher halo. All right, the launcher halo is the hybrid that goes along with the driver and the Fairway Wood. This is a 422 degree, which is about where I'd want to see a four hybrid launch at. Now, if you look on the reason why I'm interested in this is you look at that, it's got rails, okay? And rails have been a real popular item in hybrids and in some Fairway Woods. And what they do is when you go and interact with the turf, it kind of keeps you in line with the direction that you're going. And you don't dig, right? Every once in a while you get those shots in the hybrids where you dig. And although you shouldn't be, the rails tend to help you. I've never seen it be bad whenever there's been a rail on the bottom. All right, and it sports the, see if we can get that in there. There we go. It sports the high bore crown. Look at it, so it's a little taller in the face, right in that neck of the woods, and then it has more of the traditional look right there. It looks to be pretty good. All right, I'm going to say it right this time. Miyazaki. All right, the Miyazaki shaft, and it's a little heavier, a little beefier with this R-Flex, and I think this will work just fine. I haven't really taken a look to compare. What I really don't approve of is when you get these guys and the hybrid is just like an irons. There's just so many to choose from, and you get with these distance clubs, they tend to make them lighter and longer. And longer isn't necessarily a good thing, particularly with average golfer types. You know, you got to have the right length. It can still be light, that's fine, but when you make it longer, your quality of your hit goes way down, and it doesn't balance out for the speed. It just doesn't do that. So that's what we're going to look at for that, and we'll talk about that in the fitting section. All right, so let's go hit these and see what we get. All right, part three in the fitting, part three of the Cleveland Srixon product review, the Cleveland Woods. All right, the Cleveland Woods. I hit the Launcher Turbo. The Launcher Turbo. Again, it has the high bore crown, cup face technology, and again, we took all that stuff out and we measured them in shop, right? And surprisingly enough, everything was really good. The loft angles were on. Typically, in drivers in most OEMs, loft is really where things go crazy. And it was funny, I was a half a degree either way in all the loft angles that I measured in the woods. And a half a degree is excellent, right? Normally I give an excellent rating to ±1. So ±1.5 is like good. ±2 is like, well, I don't even know why we're making a driver. So ±0.5 is awesome. So you would never know that plus or minus in that based on performance. So they did very well here. Cup face technology, the Miyazaki shaft in there in the 50 gram. And I got it out there. I had to choke down because it's 45.5, 46 inch club. So I had to choke down nearly an inch to an inch and a half before I started really getting the middle of the face. So what happened when I got the middle of the face? Well, it started going about what I normally hit, just give or take a few yards. And it was going down the middle. I was hitting pretty decent. It's not loud. I thought certainly I was going to hear this big crashing sound, and well, it wasn't. It's a bit of a ting in it, and as most all titanium clubs do. All right, it's not loud, but it's not muted either. So in the look at the address, there's a lot of, the fins that are on the top is very much an alignment aid. I think it sits a little closed at address, and which doesn't bother me a bit because I like that look, right? And if you can see, I really did get the middle of the face, so I'm not fooling. All right, so all in all, who would this go for? This could range for just about anybody. This is from beginning to end, right? Keep in mind it is not adjustable, so getting the right length, the right loft, the right flex, the right weight is very paramount to making this thing work very well for you. Once you get all that, you've got quite the weapon, but I think it would fit in most people's bags. It is just right in the middle of the road and everything. It's not too tall, it's not too thin, it's not too wide, it's not too deep. It's just right in the middle. So it should appeal to a lot of different peoples, all right? Just make sure that you get all your parameters found in a fitting. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The Halo, this one was a little bit of a surprise. Now, my hitting prowess kind of declined right about that time frame. I got more into the heel. But every once in a while, I would get a hold of one, and it went out. And it did pretty good. I did like the feel of it. The look of it is really convincing. It's a smaller look, and it just the crown of it, that high bore crown, gives you kind of an alignment aid so you can wrap it around the ball. I really did like the way that it felt. Now the Miyazaki shaft that was on this one gave it a really good feel. I just felt it was a little long. Again, I think they're all a little long, so that's always going to be a comment. But once I started getting into it, it really did start performing well. Something that could easily go in the bag. Again, who's this for? This is a club even for the stronger player, right? You get the right flex in there. I think it go along with just about any bag that's in there. There's just not, they're going to say, well, this is for that beginning player. I don't think so. The only problem that the better player would fight is the closed face. So if you're that guy that fights the fade, the slice, the open, both the driver and the hybrid and the fairway is where you want to go. If you're the better player and you're fighting that cut and you don't want that cut, then that could be it. If you're a guy that's hooking the ball, this is not for you. So keep that in mind. But all in all, great quality club. I think it would work for most people. All right, so if you got this far in all these things, tell me what you like in a driver. Is it sound? Is it the distance? Is it the way that it looks at address? What's one of your favorite parameters when you're talking about a driver and or a hybrid? Let me know down in the show notes. And as always, let's see your scores. Good go low.